Live, except by the live stream.
Hurry up, Sharon.
Hey, Wayno,
I didn't know we were getting pictures done today.
anybody need a board? Done, you're all set? I got coffee, George.
I got tequila in mine.
Coming up. Chris here?
Hey, all right. Guess we're ready to get started here for the board meeting. Today is March 23rd, approximately 1 p.m. You all know the rules. If we have any renters, we'll ask them to please leave. Okay, we don't have any of those. All right, welcome to the board meeting, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get started here with the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
All right, roll call. I'm here, John Tucker, president.
Sherry Boggs, Vice President.
Paula Wilcox, Treasurer. Joyce Weaver, Secretary.
George Promenacker, member at large.
Okay, approve the notice. The first part of this meeting is going to be for the budget, and then we'll roll into the board meeting. So the notice of the association was posted, the meeting was today, Wednesday, March 23rd at 1 p.m. We have the agenda as pledged and roll call, which we already did. We're doing the approve the notice, and then we'll do the budget. And then we can go ahead and do the board meeting part. So we'll just stick with the budget meeting, and we're not going to do the budget meeting again for the second part of the meeting. We already did it. Approve the notice affidavit for the budget meeting was posted on August 8th. That other one was posted on March 9th right away by L.W. Smith. So that was the notice of the budget meeting. For the notice affidavit for the budget meeting, for today, March 23rd, 1 p.m. here in the clubhouse, was dated in March and posted on the 8th of March as well. Okay, we'll roll into the budget meeting. We'll do it with Paula.
All right, what you received in the mail was a proposed budget. Since we mailed that out, we have found a few problems with it. And one thing we did not, well, let me just, Tammy and I have been working on it all morning, trying to figure out where we made the mistake. But we will be sending a final budget with your statements this year. So you will get a final budget, but just know that what we are doing here is trying to keep us from having a maintenance increase because we've been under budget. Now, mind you, a lot of that under budget is going to keep you from an assessment because we have some major repairs that are going to have to be done. So, but after further review and talking with our CPA this morning, the proposed budget is almost there. What we left out was what we were going to add to our clubhouse reserves, partial renovation reserves, to take care of these windows and the leaking problems that we have in the clubhouse, that's not going to be an easy fix. So, what he suggested, our CPA auditor suggested is, adding it to take care of that so that we don't have to assign an assessment to anyone this year. We are trying to keep that to a minimum if we can. Our park is doing very well, but this clubhouse has got to have some work done. Yes, sir.
What's the leaking that you're talking about?
When it rains, those windows leak on the inside.
So if we
And
replace
it
the windows, that solves the problem.
That's what we've got to do, yes. And so far, we've only had one quote. We've contacted several. So far, we're only getting one quote, and we've got 6 windows up in here. Well, 5 of the big windows, and then we've got these few smaller ones, but those big windows are gonna be about $5,000 a piece. And that's on the low end. Because now, when you replace those windows, they have to be hurricane-proof windows. That is the new code.
Somebody that got in windows the other day said the hurricane windows were cheaper than the other windows.
Yeah, but you're talking about regular house windows. We're not talking about the size of those. And as a public venue, they have to be even more rated than a home. We've got the quote if anybody wants to look at it.
Where was your mistake made in here?
When we were doing the budget, we didn't add that to the reserves for building and equipment maintenance. Or actually put it not in that, I'm sorry, it's in the clubhouse renovation. We didn't add it to the reserves. We're gonna try to build up that reserve so that we can keep that money to fix these windows. We also have major expenses that's gonna be coming on this pool out here. The decking is cracked, it's, the tiles moved. So, if we don't use the resources that we have, then we have to assess for those. Because those are things that can't be not done. Those are maintenance issues and they're safety issues. And if we don't do that, and it's not just the windows over here on the clubhouse, we're gonna have to replace all those boards down at the bottom, because that water's leaking down in there and rotting the wood.
Is the quote for the window still going with the smaller window?
Yes,
Okay, and then you'll have more to replace at the bottom?
more wood to replace,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay,
But there was a discrepancy of approximately $35,000, which we meant to put into the reserves for the clubhouse. Total,
5,000 total?
35.
Oh.
So anyway, he suggested that we put it towards those windows. And when we get the budget completely, Tammy and I are working directly with our CPA. And when we have the audit this year and we send out your statements, it will have that finalized budget in there. Okay. Does anybody else have any questions?
Over here.
Yes, ma'am.
I can help you a little bit. I don't know if you remember, but when I was on your committee for the budget last year, previous year, we had decided to get rid of, we can't get rid of it, but the insurance deductible. If you need insurance, or have something wrong, you never have to come up with that deductible. And I was even in the paper that it's ridiculous reserve expense. And the 10,000's been there for 3 years. We left it there because you can't just take it out without a vote of all the people. And we never financed it because you won't need it. My husband was manager during 3 hurricanes, manager and president board during 3 hurricanes, and he never had to come up with the deductible, and we were always under budget. It's unnecessary, completely.
Well, the deductible doesn't only work through hurricanes. I mean, insurance is charged a deductible. We have a deductible.
But you don't have to come up with it.
Well,
If it's a small claim, sometimes you do.
Yeah, but
If it's a small claim, it will come into effect.
I know during the hurricanes, even my
That's-
house.
Yeah, it's gonna
we didn't
surpass,
have to come up
yes.
with a deductible, we just had to fix them.
Yeah, because the cost to replace is gonna surpass
Mhm.
your deductible, which you'll trying to get to.
So my question is, Paula, are we going to roll with the current budget when we start paying our maintenance April 1st?
the maintenance fees are not changing,
Okay,
okay? The discrepancy is actually, would have been where they would go down, but we've got to get these windows done. So we're gonna keep the budget where it's at, just add it in there where we can take it out and fix those windows and the wall.
What about if the cable is due next year? You're gonna have an increase on that probably. I know you're working on different things, with cable, you know. And what if this runs into more money? You just don't grab money from one thing, put on another.
We're not grabbing money from one thing and putting it on
Where is
another.
it now? If we
We
got it,
didn't
it's
add
got-
it on to the bottom line,
It's gotta be
Marlene.
somewhere.
This is a proposed budget
I know it.
that we have a third, we didn't add it, we didn't put it there. It's not money we already have, Marlene, it's money that we're gonna take in with the assessment, or with the regular assessments this year. With your maintenance fees, that's what I'm trying to say, I'm sorry, I wasn't making it
Yeah.
understandable. But no, this is not money we already have,
Okay,
no ma'am.
that's what I
It's not.
wondered where it
Yeah.
was, if we already had it.
No, we're gonna be bringing it in through expense,
You
through our
can't take it
income.
from someplace
Yeah.
and put it another.
No, it's in our income and we'll be putting it into that area, yes.
Once you have the final budget, can the dues increase?
No, they should
No.
not.
Because you passed the budget here today? Okay.
We'll just have to change that number.
Yeah.
We're gonna get it exactly right.
Yeah.
What we're proposing today and what we're gonna be voting on today is not raising the maintenance.
But maybe we'll get an assessment if.
No.
No, we don't see
Any
any
assessment this year?
assessment in our future,
Oh, good,
not this year.
not this year.
Not this year. What we've been trying to do, Tammy and I have been trying to do is, we didn't raise it last year, and I had several people tell me, oh, you should raise it at least $5. Well, no, not if you've been raising it for 10 years for no reason. So, we're gonna try to keep it the same until we can get that to balance out and never be under budget. You know what I'm saying? Never taking in more than what we have to have. We don't wanna raise it just for the sake of raising it. So we're gonna try to keep it where it's at until we can get it to where we're breaking even every year. Okay? That's our main goal. Tammy and I, that's what we're working on, is to break even, or as close to even as we can get it.
I mean, be careful what you say. When,
Sorry?
I'll ask, but I know there's a reason, but when it says reserve funding per lot, 8079,
On which condo is that?
it's the same one all the time.
Probably
It
the
should be.
master.
Yeah, 8079, when you add that will go up.
Is it 8079 times 4?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that would be for, yeah. Now, remember, it's proposed, so it's going to fluctuate a little with your main budget. When we send out the final, that might be a few pennies different.
Okay, take 8079 times 4.
Yeah, that's $320 and some change,
Okay, where is it?
times
That
686.
Reserve funds per lot is yearly is 205.85. Reserve funding per lot quarterly is 8079.
Where am I at?
Those two things don't,
Right, again, this was a proposed budget, it is not 100% correct, there was a discrepancy, and when you have a discrepancy on one side, there's gonna be a little bit on the other side, they have to balance each other out. Okay, this is where we are working together to try to keep everything as balanced as possible, so we don't have to have a special assessment, we don't have to raise any funds. This is a mess, and I apologize for that, but we're trying to make everything work to where everybody can just count on another year of being the same. Okay.
and then we just forget that the 8079 don't
Right.
match.
Whenever we
Alright.
send out your statements, we will have the final budget will go out. We've never done it that way before, and I'm speaking this year with my CPA, and found out that every year we've sent out a budget has been a proposed budget. It's not even the true final. They've just sent the same one out and left it that way. So we're actually trying to do things the correct way this year. So this one's proposed. It's a little messy. That is my fault. I should have double checked everything and went through it all. Just work with me and understand when you get the final budget with your statement, it's going to be correct and all the numbers will add up and match.
Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Where is the marina accounted for in the budget for rental or expenses for the marina? Is that completely separate?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
It is
so
completely
it
separate.
doesn't appear here at all.
Yeah, no, I don't even know why it's on here. to be honest with you. Never has been.
It has its own entity. What comes in for the marina goes into the marina account.
Yeah, well,
And it's used for just the marina.
it's listed on the reserve funding.
Yeah.
It's above the billiard room and the roof, paint, truck. But it doesn't reflect what's brought in from the marina. That's funded for docks and whatever.
So anything that we do to the marina this year will come out of that 29,000?
Yes, ma'am. That's what that's funded for. So whenever you make a marina payment,
Okay, so anything else that will come out of any other maintenance,
no.
just the marina?
Yes, that's what that's funded for.
Okay,
That's why there's not an annual funding because we charge a marina fee. We don't have an amount that gets transferred every quarter like everything else does.
okay. Is that useful life? I mean, it's only good for one more year.
It should, okay, so the useful life, hold on, I lost my page.
It's 20 years.
Right, so yeah, it should, one more year of funding it should match the 24,000. Or
Well,
it
it's
matches
already-
it now, but
We've already
it-
matched it.
so technically it shouldn't be funded now, which and it's not because we've already surpassed the amount of years that we needed to get the total replacement amount.
So what needs to be done down to the marina will be done this year.
Correct, and then it'll start getting, I don't recall ever having a funding in there since I've been there, and it was 6 years ago that I started, so.
Well, it basically funds itself.
Yeah,
So whatever we take in on the marina goes into that reserve for the marina. We don't have annual funding for it. There's no assessment per lot for it.
it's just.
It funds itself.
You
Same,
rent-
same thing with your storage back there. It
Yeah.
funds itself, so when it needs new chip or seal or whatever that is and things done, it's done out of the funding that they make off of those lot rents.
Which we know has never been there before, and
Are there any other questions? Yes, Pat.
I see on there you've added pickleball.
Yes, sir.
I know that our pickleball court is used extremely well around here, but 2 years ago, when everybody passed around a petition to have a pickleball court built, the owners were promised that there would never be any maintenance fees or any funds coming out of the owner's pocket to support the pickleball court. And I want to.
I don't think that's exactly the way it went. I think that exactly the way it went is when they wanted to put the pickleball courts out here, they promised that the owners in here would not have to build the pickleball courts. Wait a minute, Pat, wait a minute. Once the pickleball courts are placed on common property, it becomes your responsibility to maintain it. Just like the shuffleboard, just like the pool, whether you use the pool or not, you still have to maintain that pool. Okay, so once it's placed on common property, common area, that is all of our responsibility. And you're talking about $5,000 to recover it. That's the only thing that we're even responsible for. It's already, no, we haven't paid any maintenance on it. The pickleball
They did a
people did.
donation.
Yeah.
Raised our own money.
We did not give them any money to put those pavers down. They sold the bricks with the names on it and put the pavers down themselves.
Well, your memory and my memory are different, because when it was passed around, the statement was, the owner will never have to pay for any
And
maintenance.
see, that's not legal. They may have said that, but that's not legal. Once it's put on common ground,
Pat, I
it
remember
is our
that.
responsibility.
Yeah, I remember that, and you're correct. However, what the people that were politics board didn't realize, like Paula said, once we put it on common ground, per 718, we have to have a reserve fund for it at that point, which is a good asset, and it's not that much, to
I
recover.
agree that the pickleball court is a good asset, I'm not, I just want to bring that up,
Okay,
so that the people would have it, and that information. And I understand your statement, thank you.
true, thank you. It was that.
No.
Anybody else?
It was. Going once, going twice.
So I make a motion that we accept the budget not to increase our maintenance fees.
I second that we accept the proposed budget and our maintenance fees stay the same.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
All opposed?
Nobody wants to meet.
Thank you.
Okay, I guess, anybody else have any other questions? If not, we'll wrap up the budget meeting part of this afternoon. All right, I guess, we'll adjourn the budget meeting part.
I make a motion, we adjourn the budget meeting.
Second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Excuse me. We'll move on to the board of directors part of the meeting. Pledge of allegiance is done, roll call is done, I think we're all still here, nobody left. Proof of notice. The proof of notice was posted on March 21st by the secretary, Joyce Weaver, that the meeting would be held today at 1:15. It was posted at the clubhouse and the office on March 21st. Okay, we'll do the approval of the February 17th, 2022 meeting minutes.
Okay. The meeting
The meeting was called to order and the pledge led by Don Tucker at 2:03 PM. Roll call, President Don Tucker, Vice President Sherry Boggs, Treasurer Paula Wilcox, Secretary Joyce Weaver, and Member at Large George
Crumanacker.
Cromanacher. Vice
George
President.
K.
Proof of notice was read by Don T. Tucker. Asked for the motion, Sherry Boggs made the motion, and Paula Wilcox seconded. All approved. Approval of the January 26, 2022 meeting minutes was read, and Don Tucker made the motion to accept the minutes, and Sherry Boggs seconded. All approved. Treasurer report by Paula Wilcox read the January expenditures. Don made the motion to accept the treasurer's report. Joyce seconded, and all were approved. New business, the weekend contractors and paid personnel that came up. Only emergency work is allowed on the weekends. This is to residents a break, to give residents a break. Exceptions, current employees can work for a short time on Saturdays. Marina Committee looking in for help to reconfigure the parking in the marina for the pontoons. There are 43 spots total and only 30 are rented out, leaving 13 extra empty sites because of the way the parking has to be done at the current time. We clearly have more large boats or pontoons than we do bass boats. If you're interested in helping, please get to Don Tucker or LW, and we would like to have this ready by the summer. Don Tucker suggested possibly pushing the docks further out into the canal. LW responded that 4 to 5 years ago, they were surveyed the docks and had to be moved inward so that it's not pushing the docks out. Another suggestion was if there were anyone who lived in the canal that could park their boat at their lot instead of renting the marina, if that's a possibility. Cable Committee, looking for some other options before the contract runs out with Comcast. The contract is up on May 23rd, but we have to decide, 2023, but we have to decide if we are canceling or staying by May of 2022. We are looking to 100% involve the members on our next service. Please, if you have any ideas or suggestions, let us know, possibly for a small group of volunteers to go and chat with local RV parks and maybe do some research. LW said he has a meeting with Convergent on the 27th at 11 a.m. Marvin was there and he agreed to help. And then Kay Durbin said that she would like to attend. Security, looking to put together a site survey group to help suggest camera positions. Hearing committee violations, there were 12 violations. These are the same violations for the last meeting. The board of directors dropped the ball on the procedures in contacting the violators, and so we had to start over. The letters had been sent to the owners listed. Don T. read, and members all approved. Parking violations, temporary parking. Don T. suggested that we use the empty space where the old camper was in the back that has been removed. Suggested that the pass be for 24 to 48 hours upon approval at the front office. Suggestion box, Joyce Weaver read the suggestions, only one at this time. Suggestions was for the artisan show and yard sales to be open to the outside. The response was no, the gates will not be open for outside visitors. Hearing committee, there was nothing. SAC committee, the next meeting was February the 22nd at 12 noon. Everyone is welcome. Then we talked about the Jeff Gordon concert. Please don't forget that. Managers report. After the season is over, understand that living in the condominium means a lot of rules, and although they seem onerous, but they are there to protect the community, you and your property. Continue to be kind and helpful to your neighbors and others. Old business, the AED is the rhythm maker, AKA a life-saving device, simple and safe to use for public areas. We went to the EMS and we got a approximate cost on an AED of $1,800. If the auto evaluation of the rhythm, and if it can't pick up anything, it will continue to monitor the patient until the EMS arrives. This is a portable device. Don Tucker asked for a motion to adjourn, Paula Wilcox made the motion, and Sherry B. Boggs seconded, all approved. The meeting was adjourned at 3:40 PM. That's it.
All right, I make a motion that
We
we
approve the meeting minutes from February 17, 2022.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Paul is back up with treasurer.
Yeah, the expenditures and our reconciling balances for February 2022. Our reconciled balance in our operating account is $335 or $35,691. Cash on hand, 500, which brings us to $336,191. Accounts receivable operating is $51,854, which brings us to a total of $388,045. In our reserves, we have $805,244. Social account, including bingo, pickleball, etc., $38,507.78. For the month of February, we are approximately $30,000, almost $30,500 under budget, which brings us to approximately $90,862 for the year. And I've been asked several times about why we were under budget when we finished the year last year. And they want to know where that money is. Well, if you recall, in 2020 to 2021, at our audit meeting, we learned that the year before that, we were quite a bit. We had a 90,000 plus deficit. We were in the hole, 90,000 plus. The team that year, the board that year worked very hard, and that turned us around to where we are no longer in the hole. And that's what helped get us out, was what we managed to save during that year and become under budget. Now this year, we're hoping to use what we have under budget, probably not all of it, but maybe all of it, with everything going up and up and up, to do a few major repairs around here so that you're not assessed for those repairs, because they are essential and they have to be done. So hopefully we can use what we're under budget this year, if anything at all, and we're crossing our fingers, and pretty much we're pretty sure we will be. We're gonna use that to do those repairs. Our auditor is gonna be letting us know what we can and cannot do with those funds that are under budget. We don't just take them and decide where they go. Our auditor actually tells us where we need to put those. And because we were in the hole at the end of the year before, that's why that under budget went to get us out of the hole. And they have worked very hard Tammy and LW have worked hard to keep our spending down and to keep us where we need to be so that we don't have all that deficit and major expenses that we have to be assessed for. So But if you have any questions about, if you have questions about what we're spending money on, you're more than welcome to come up there. That's what the office, you have every right to ask questions. I personally would appreciate it not going out on social media. I think that's the coward's way out. If you want to ask me a question, just ask me. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
On the $90,000, that was a deficit, was it in, the parks account,
Yes.
or was it in the social and?
It had nothing to do with
As a
social account. The social account
You
was,
didn't break down when you gave us how much,
no, the park.
I know you didn't break down like you usually do, how much bingo has, how much social has, and how much park.
Oh, no, I don't do that in a regular board meeting. That will be done by the SAC. I mean, they do that in the SAC meeting. I don't break it down in here.
It's all in one account.
I mean, it's, I know, just off the top of my head, I'm pretty sure that that 38,000, if I remember correctly, we had a meeting yesterday, the SAC committee did. 8,900 of it was bingo reserves. About 20-something hundred of it was
Regular
bingo
bingo.
operating fund,
And pickleball has nothing.
and pickleball had $20. So, you can subtract that from 38,000 and, that's what they have. Or what is left in SAC committee. You have the financial right. Not yet. I think you are, you're further down on the list. You need to do it then, Miss Eileen. Thank you. Anybody else have any questions?
Paula, what you're saying is, in 2 years, you had $180,000 swing, is what we're looking
Pretty
at.
much, yeah.
That's pretty impressive,
It is.
very impressive. Good job.
Any other questions? Then I motion to approve the February expenditures and reserve expenditures for review.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, on to the new business. First up is the pool rules and the lighting. We are looking at replacing the sign with more clarified pool rules. We have the state guidelines, which is what we have to follow. So we have identified what applies to us, and we will be coming up with a new sign. Yes,
Give
ma'am.
me, damn, what applies to us? What's wrong with what we have?
Well, for what?
Drinks, food and drinks.
We don't need food and drinks in the,
I,
out there by the pool.
well, but you're allowed under the overhang.
Yes,
you are.
50 feet is the Florida rules. The guy got the
It
rules right
says
in front
right
of
in
me.
it that on the pool deck is no, okay, well, I'm gonna give you, for instance, there's people that go out there in the pool and they bring their drink with them and they sit it on the side of the pool. And no one calls them out on it, but then we get called out because we identify one rule and we're accused of playing favoritism to people. So all I'm trying to say is that we are trying to I'm not making any rules here right now. All I'm saying is that we are trying to clarify the rules that we have and the state rules to see what we are doing right or wrong. And then we're going to change it to follow the state rules. And there probably might be one or two added that apply to us, such as no floating things. You can't sit out there when the pool is full with a raft. And people do it.
That's a rule.
I understand it's a rule. All I'm saying is that we're trying to clarify, because we get questioned is it Marlene?
Yeah.
Miss Marlene? We get questioned all the time about the rules. Okay? So we're just trying to make it, we want to put it to bed, We want it to be right, and we want to do our research about it. So we're doing our research, we want to make sure it's right, and if the sign applies, we won't get a new sign. If the sign doesn't apply, we won't get it, we'll get a new sign. Also, we're looking at night lighting. Because by law, if people are gonna swim in the pool, there has to be specific type of lighting. So we're probably gonna have to install a certain kind of light. It specifies it in the Florida State rule. Now, in the past, I know that they tried to have rules about no swimming from dusk till dawn, or the pool is open from 30 minutes after sunrise to 15 minutes before sunset. And we still have people coming in and swimming. Well, we can't hire a security guard to keep people out. So the pool is open pretty much 24/7. The only thing that we're gonna ask is that between the hours of 7:30 and 8:30, that people let the pool get cleaned and not give the pool cleaner a hard time. Because that's his job, and if you wanna swim in a clean pool, you gotta let the guy clean the pool. So, that's really about it. I understand you have questions, and that's fine. And we're not making any kind of policy here. We just are letting you know that this is an informational thing of what we're trying to do to make it right, that we're within the state guidelines, and that we're not pointing our finger at anybody and saying, you're breaking the rule. And then, because you call people out on an error, and then they get upset, and they accuse you of, well, you didn't tell so-and-so who was here 15 minutes ago. Well, maybe I wasn't here 15 minutes ago to see so-and-so doing it. So that's where you all come into play. If you are uncomfortable with what somebody's doing and you know it's against the rules, you don't have to be aggressive about it. Just kindly say, hey, you realize that you're not supposed to have a floating bed in the pool. It's against the rules. That's it.
Okay, may I say something?
Sure, of course.
All right, this has been.
Speak up, Joyce, we can't hear you.
Yeah, Joyce.
This has been going on, for years. What do you do when you see someone doing something that looks dangerous to you, or that you know is against the rules?
Well,
But, I mean, when you speak nicely to them and remind them, they get very angry. Okay, then what?
I
Because,
agree.
I'm gonna say, before I came here, and maybe it isn't feasible here, but each member of the board was in charge of a certain part of the park. My job was the pool and the clubhouse, okay? But then there was another member of the board was in charge of something else. So when something happened that you knew was a flagrant disregard for the rule, you call that person that was in charge of that particular part, and they took care of it. Here, I don't know, and no one I talked to knows what to do. One time there was 6 people out there swimming in their clothes. We ran over there to that guy that lived in the trailer, I forget, Ed, and he came over and got him out. But otherwise, what do you do?
And do you know the people that are violating the rules?
Did I make a list of their
I'm
names?
just- no, I'm not saying- no, I'm not-
I do
that's
not.
not-
Has it been recently?
Well, I only go to the pool in the morning now. But
Yeah, that's some of the complaint too, water aerobics between 8 and 11:30, People are complaining about the big joes around people. All that is just like a noodle, a little larger that they hold on and wrap around their waist.
I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about a general rule, tell us what to do when we see someone that says, so what? You're not my boss. And they're right, I'm not their boss.
Get a board member.
A board member, that's what I'm saying. What do we do?
Well, we're all adults and we need to police ourselves,
Well, sure, we need to.
If I have a flotation device around me, as long as I'm not laying out on it, because only 23 people can fit in that pool. The same thing is, we found bloody bandages in there after Saturday morning's water aerobics.
Oh,
So we should all know that if we have an open sore or bandage on, we don't get in the pool.
Well, yeah, but you can't say it was water aerobics because there's people going there at nighttime.
Well, it could have been that, but it was right after water
Chris
aerobics.
Pool in the
and there's
morning.
people that join us in the morning that aren't even part of water aerobics.
Correct. But I mean, what I'm trying to say is that we're gonna work on the rules and get them in with the states. Part of the problem is people think that you can't have food out at one of these round tables. That's far enough away from the wet water is how it's put on the state guidelines, the wet deck, that there's no reason why you can't sit out there and have a sandwich and a drink at that pool. We are adults. We have to police ourselves. We're not allowed to let our kids run in here alone, so they're not gonna be in the pool unless they're 16 years of age.
There is a problem with food out there because we had problems before with people bringing food, and then we've got a lot of ants in there.
We have ants
That's the
here.
problem.
We have ants in the clubhouse here.
We have ants on the countertop.
I've seen people having cocktail parties out by the pool
Well,
with glasses, with
they
cocktail
they
glasses.
shouldn't have glass bottles, but
Exactly, but try telling them
Don't go up to mine before we go here.
that. What?
what?
Up to mine, so we can go through.
Go up to the mic, use the mic, that's what they're saying, use the mic.
Oh, okay.
What I'd
Well,
like,
that's all I had to say.
what I'd like to say is, can we not call?
LW, call LW if you see that there's a problem, that's what he's the manager for. And he can help take care of it, I'm sorry, LW, but
He's on my.
realistically,
And you have a camera, we have the video recording, but it might not identify people. Most everybody has a phone and a camera. If I have to know who they are, I just can't guess it, that somebody's breaking the rule. Because like the other day, somebody called and somebody was vaping down here. By the time I got here, they were gone. So I wasn't able to identify it.
yeah, if everybody didn't hear that, we do have cameras out there. If you can identify when it was, at what time it was, he can pretty much look back at the camera and find that person. But he's the one that has all that, is supposed to take care of all that. Yes, Eileen.
The comment was made that during exercise class, that then the pool can't be used by other people. Well, everybody owns that pool. Yes, we all do, Joyce.
I did not say
Wait a
that
minute.
I
they
didn't
didn't
say
use
you
it.
said that, I'm just clarifying. We
Yeah.
all own that pool. So allowing the exercise class on that end is fine. But if you want to bring your grandchildren down here and they want to swim in that end of the pool in the morning, let's say at 10 o'clock, they should be allowed.
Yes, ma'am.
Because this is for everybody.
They don't
Yeah.
are.
I know, somebody made the comment.
One at a
I
time.
just heard it, that they should be doing it when we have our exercises.
I didn't hear it.
I didn't hear that.
And,
No, I didn't hear
I
it.
just clarified.
okay, let's not argue, back and forth, I'm just saying, okay, it's also, we've had people say, well, you're not supposed to have a floaty in the pool unless you're in the exercise class. Well, if y'all have the shallow end down here monopolized, they don't have to have one down here. So,
You gotta give it.
everybody's got to give and take, exactly. It's got to be give and take. And just to clarify, around that pool, 4 foot from the water is the wet deck. That is the deck. And there is no food or glass within 4 foot of the water. Now, the rest of that is not the deck. And I understand that, somebody may drop a crumb and there may be an ant out there. But we've had to kill ants on the countertop inside. So are you gonna stop it from in here too? We're adults. We gotta police ourselves and act like adults.
The same thing, if someone has a beer or a cocktail down there, they're adults, it's at your own risk. I'm not gonna go around asking somebody what's in your Yeti cup, None of my business. We're not a YMCA camp, Now, if you see people down here falling in drunk and falling in the pool, then there may be an issue, but it will be on the cameras, and so you can report it, LW can go back to that time on the cameras, and he can see it.
Okay. All right, Chris.
I just want to clarify the wet deck, that also includes old furniture. Now, for the last 2 to 3 weeks, because we got new furniture, a lot of people are moving the furniture around. hey, I think you can put it back in the general location that you got it from, but the chair in front of the steps is absolute no-no.
No.
Every day I come in the morning, there's a chair right in front of the steps. Or there's a lounge chair on the far end that's on the steps on the other side. Wet deck is zero, nothing on the 4-foot diameter absolute hot tub.
Okay.
Oh, fine. Thanks.
Okay.
I wonder where it went.
I really wasn't meaning for that to get into as hot a debate as it was. All I was trying to say was we were looking at the stuff and we'll get back to it. Moving on to the next one.
Mr. Donald, I have a question.
Shoot.
Can you come up to the mic?
Can I take the mic to her?
No.
No, I'll come up.
It's not wireless.
Here you go, Marlene.
Lot 20, lot 1. My question is, are we assuming then that next year we'll be able to have food and drinks in the pool?
Not in the pool.
No, around the pool.
Covered, under the covered.
We shall assume that, right?
You can assume anything
And
you
that's
want.
why the social committee has voted to buy a screen and projector, right?
No.
No. And that's why we bought a popcorn machine. Oh, didn't buy it. It was donated to us, a popcorn machine. I do not think that when we have a state night, we should allow, or lunch, we should allow anybody out there to eat. Cause then we just get a bunch of ants. And then maybe you need to change exterminators. And then one more thing and then I'll let you go. I guess I don't care what you do anymore. But I have lived here since 1996 I came. And when I came in here, I don't know who you are, but I'm not funny. Anyway, the rule was, or it was told to me, that you could not have anything in the park unless they were overnight guests. We had a wedding in here, and I don't care if they were pickleball or who they were, and there were 40 cars that didn't have stickers on, over 40 cars. Now, 40 of those people, 2 people in each car, didn't spend the night here. Now, I want to know, are we going to just let anybody come in here that wants to? If so, why spend money on security? My question. I don't think we should allow that.
The wedding was by an owner. And
I know he wasn't
and
the
those
one.
were his guests. That he
And
invited.
he, all 40 of them spent the night at his house?
I can't answer that.
I'm not yelling. No, I'm not. It's this thing.
And as
I'm right
far as the rules change. Things evolve. The state rule, I'm the naysayers in the back. The people that don't let everyone get their say. Like we had, let you get your say, now it's time for you to get my say, okay? Things change. The state guidelines change. The county guideline changes. Everything changes. So you can't expect Ancient Oaks to be in this little bubbly world that nothing changed since 1996. Everything evolves.
So we're gonna let people come in and.
They were an owner. How can we,
Yeah,
Then why not have other people have guests? Because they stay all night.
because
That's the rules.
That's not a rule.
Only for bingo.
the only
It's not a
deal,
rule.
it's not, well,
It's
it's
never been a
always
rule.
been a rule.
No, y'all have already down.
It's
hold on,
not a
everybody.
written
Whoa.
down rule,
Whoa.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Hold on.
Hold on. Second.
Let LW address it.
I'm sorry if I said something I
No,
shouldn't.
no.
Yeah,
Okay.
the way it was told to me.
It was told to you,
Yes.
it was told to you, that rule of the overnight guest was a manager's decision. It was not a board decision. It was not recorded anywhere in our rules or bylaws. It was only put out here on the deck. And so when I researched it to find anything, I asked people if they had anything on it. There was never any official rule. It was a manager's decision that they wanted that rule to be in effect. So I can't enforce a rule that is not an official rule. It'd be like making up my own rule, which I can't do. So that's the reason why you don't have to be an overnight guest to use recreational facilities.
Other than bingo.
Other than bingo.
Other than bingo. Bingo, because that is a state law. That is a state law.
This is a small place, this is a small place. The people start playing pickleball that don't live here, then they're using the other facilities also. And it's a small place.
Can I answer
Has
that?
it interfered with your ability to use the recreational facilities?
Personally, no, but it
That-
accelerates, you know it does.
That's the rule. Any guest must not interfere with your right to use the recreational facilities. At that point, we can ask them to leave or not bring in guests. That is the official rule. That is in our documents.
Okay, let's move on.
I think that's part of the problem, is that a lot of people don't know what the rules are. And can I speak, please?
Yeah.
They don't know what the rules are. And the comment I hear all the time is, I was told. Well, just because you were told, if I told you the sky was red, does that mean it's right? So I have the rules. I'll find it for you, and I will gladly show it to you where it says that the guests cannot interfere with your use of the pool, the pickleball court, the billiard hall, whatever it is. It's in the rules. So I'm sorry that if you've never heard that, because somebody didn't tell you the right thing. They told you what they wanted to tell you. But it's right here in writing, Ancient Oaks Rules and Regulations, that it says that. I'm sorry, but it's here. And these aren't Don's rules. Don didn't wake up one day and spend the whole day writing these rules and get them approved. This is the stuff we were handed. We try to improve things, make things better. But we don't make this stuff up. I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm getting a little upset here because I was told when I first bought my property that I couldn't have a function in this clubhouse that I was part of an owner of unless I invited the whole park, which was false. It's false. I can have a function in this clubhouse and I don't have to invite you. But if you, can I finish? Can I finish?
Yeah.
But if you come into the clubhouse, I can't tell you to leave. That's the rule. But I don't have to invite you. So if I have a birthday party in here and you come in, more than likely, I'm gonna say, hey, you want a piece of cake? Come on in. But I can't ask you to leave, or I can't tell you to leave. That is the rule. But the rule that I have to invite the whole park, that's not a rule.
When did they change it?
It's never changed. It's always been the rule.
It was, this is what you were told when you were moved in, this is what you were told by the neighbors, this was what. But guess what? They even voted to change the dog rules back in 2002 to 35 pounds. Guess what they did, Joyce? They never sent it to the lawyer, they never recorded it, so we really don't have a weight limit on dogs.
We had to
Any
have
board
a-
can sit up here and say, oh, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. But if it doesn't go to the lawyer and it doesn't get recorded at Okeechobee Courthouse County, it's null and void, and that's what Don's telling you. We're going by the rules and we're going through them and we're looking at them. We're trying to better this place and make sure everything's in writing, and then as we step off the board and other people step on, they have it all documented. So if you have a question about something, feel free to ask, but everything you've been told, or I was told when I bought in here 4.5 years ago, might not be true. I have found that out also the hard way, okay?
Yeah.
So all new prospective buyers now are being interviewed by the board and they're signing a copy of the rules and regulations, even if they've rented in here, even if they've been a previous owner in here, so that this board is assured that when you buy in here, you know the rules. As far as what Don brought up, the pool rules, some of these are not good pool rules, some of them are. We will be letting you know, we're gonna go through them and work on them. Thank you.
That's all I got.
We all love Don.
I really don't get it, because I hear it all the time. I was told. So, we fixed a couple of the rules back in December, nothing major, and it is now posted with the county. So the new rules, or the new version of the rules, I should say, nothing major change, hold on a second, Pat, is on the website. And if you'd like a copy, I'm sure LW and his staff would be more than happy to get you a copy, and then you can look through it. I had to, because there's no editable Word document, I had to rewrite the whole rules. I did not rewrite it, retype it. So it was, the board worked very hard to make it right, and we worked very hard to make a lot of things that are not right. So we appreciate your patience. Ms. Hack, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that I know at some point in the past, when we were discussing rules before today, one of you had said that if any of us wanted a copy of the rules, we could go to the office and get a copy.
I said that.
Thank you.
The problem is
Not
that,
hard.
we don't get a very good attendance at the board meetings because it's boring or whatever it is, and I understand, I got it. But then somebody leaves here and says, well, the board said, well, as well as I do, the story changes every time we leave somebody's mouth to somebody else's ears. So by the time it gets to the third or fourth person, it's a totally different thing that the board never said. So if you really want to know what's coming out of our mouths, then you need to attend these meetings. Go ahead, Joel.
Okay, I've got with me, these are rules and regulations governing the social committee for signing of the clubhouse for the coming year, which I know this is old, that's 2002, 2003.
That is Joel Creech speaking.
Now, number 2 on there is, as per our documents, the use of the clubhouse is limited to Ancient Oaks residents who reside in the park at the time of the activity and their overnight guests, this is all underlined, as well as renters. And then I've got procedures here. I'm not going to read any of that.
Now, that's on the social activities guidelines. Well, those are null and void.
Well,
No,
Null and void, all of them.
it's approved by the
They're null
board
and
of
void.
directors.
We already adopted new ones.
Well, approved by the board of directors at the
Exactly.
February 14, 2002 meeting.
Exactly. We have already accepted the new social activities committee
At what board
guidelines.
meeting?
Is that in writing?
It's that.
I got a copy.
It's the SAC report.
It's the SAC committee board that changed the rules because they weren't done since 2002. So we changed those, we went through, talked to the board of directors, and they have agreed with our changes. And we removed the one that said you have to have overnight guests, because that's not.
I didn't know you could do that. I thought they had to be voted on by the community.
Can I say something about the overnight guests? Okay. You have a daughter that lives in Florida? Do you have a daughter that lives in Florida? Anybody have any family that lives in Florida? Okay. When your family comes to visit, but they're not staying the night, or do you tell them, oh, we can't go to the pool because you're not staying the night? Sorry. We're gonna sit at home because you can't go nowhere. You can't do nothing. You can't go over to the pool. You can't play pickleball. You can't do nothing because you're not spending the night. That is utterly ridiculous. Excuse me.
That's not
But that's the rule. If you're gonna go by that rule, Marlene, it has to be the rule.
I know
Okay.
anyway, my son's name's on the trailer, so when I'm off of it, you get to contend with him. But let me tell you, it was not.
Exactly, it wasn't made to be like that.
If you come during the day, you can eat lunch, you can do anything. It was made because at the time, people came in to go to the dances, people came in to go to our shows, and the people
There's Marlene.
that lived here at the
Quite good.
time did
Talking.
not get tickets to such, or, you know, so if you want to change that, you should say, maybe if you're gonna let anybody come in here at wants to, you can say after Tuesday or Thursday, and they sell tickets and sell them to the rest of the people.
That's the way we've been doing it. If I'm not mistaken, people that are not residents don't buy tickets to these things. What? We don't open that up to people that are not residents. What I'm saying is if you're gonna make that rule to where they have to be an overnight guest, it's gotta be for everything. Okay? And, you know, my grandkids come and they're only staying a couple hours, they wanna go to the pool, I'm gonna take them. Just saying.
That didn't say in there that you.
Well, that's what y'all are fussing about, is that they're supposed to be overnight guests. If they wanna use the pickleball courts, or if they wanna go play shuffleboard, they have to be an overnight guest. I mean,
No, I'm not
that's
saying
not
that.
in the rules
No,
or the bylaws.
I'm talking about someone that lives downtown.
If they're a guest, they're a guest. And if they're not keeping you from playing, then you can't say anything about it. If they're keeping somebody, the only time that we've ever had people over here on this pickleball court that were not residents, they were guests of a resident, and there weren't very many people here at that time. They were begging people to play pickleball with them. So, yeah, so they got a couple of their friends to come over and play pickleball with them. Well, shame on them.
Here.
Yeah.
All right, Ms. Lee,
Hey, Larry.
I'd like to make a motion that any complaints about the social committee rule be taken to a sidebar meeting and continue with this meeting as.
Second that.
Third, fourth, fifth,
Okay.
eighth.
all right, we're gonna move on.
Please identify yourself before you start talking so that the online people know who's talking.
Okay, if you didn't hear that, if you stand up and hold upon, just identify who you are for the video police. Okay, we are looking at adding, if it's about the guests and stuff, we're done. Okay, go ahead.
Vicki Oliver, 1712. I've been playing cards with all the changes that are up here. We've had a room for 15 years. I have heard through the grapevine that these old women do not need a room to play cards. Also, we were told, 3 of us out of 10 were told, we could play on the stage. That's fine. We have no problem with that. But exercise has complained, the yoga has complained, because we make too much noise. Can we have our room back, please? Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna make a statement and we're dropping this, okay? We are working on getting you your card room back.
Thank you.
I'm not making you any promises where it's gonna be. I'm not gonna make you any promises what it's gonna be.
Okay,
But we have heard your complaints. At least old Don Tucker has heard your complaints,
thank you.
okay? And if you have complaints, preferably put them in writing.
Well, I'm just saying
And
what
I understand. I'm just making a general statement. If you have a complaint and you want it addressed by the board, put it in writing and bring it to the office, okay? That was another thing I was gonna mention. You kind of jumped the gun on me. So we are working on that, all right? So again, no promises.
Lisa,
I'm just a little confused. Is this the part of the meeting where we can speak if we have something to bring?
Now, generally, okay, all right, this is how this is supposed to work, okay? I say something, and if you have a question about, or a comment about what I said, that's when you are allowed to ask questions, okay? I'm trying to be polite to let questions. Now, any other question at the end of the meeting that's not addressed, there's an open mic at the very end that you can come up and ask questions that weren't addressed at the board meeting.
Okay, thank you. I hope you all stay for that.
No, we're all gonna, okay, everybody, when we're done, everybody leave, run fast. All right. Finally, the next thing is, we're looking at adding this strip. See where these golf carts are illegally parked in the grass along the strip over here at the end? We are looking at making that legal for special occasions, such as board meetings, such as concerts, such as dinners, et cetera, because it gets pretty full, and don't want to sit here and have steam coming out of my ears, so the Lord has given me patience to overlook it, and I brought it up and I said, we need to do something about this strip. So we're looking at from the basketball court to the corner where that sign is to make that legal for special occasions, not everyday parking, because then it will definitely kill the grass.
They already do it, so we thought we'd make it
See
legal.
you. Okay, next thing. Writing on what I mentioned about the card table thing. We are looking at a few things that are going to be needed to vote on. Nothing is going to be mentioned right now because we're still working on it. The only comment is going to be if you get something in the mail that needs a vote, we ask you to please vote. Please do not disregard it and throw it in the trash, because we're trying to make improvements for everybody. Card room. So if you get something in the next couple of months, please send it back and vote on it. It's important, thank you. All right, here's where I get to give you my end of season reminder for everyone who's going to be going back home for the summer. Again, you might want to read the rules about when you leave. Your boats, trailers, golf carts, flower pots, grills, anything that can become a flying projectile during a hurricane or other high wind storm needs to be secure. Boats, golf carts, things like that need to be anchored to the concrete pad. Because the last thing we want is to have to call you in July when Hurricane Agnes comes through and tells you that your boat is now sticking in your home. Or worse, it's sticking in my home. So please be aware of that, and please take care of your stuff if you're leaving for the season. I wish you safe travels. I hope you had a wonderful season here. I think the park is looking amazing, not only from our maintenance team, but also from having more people here this year that were able to come down and attend to their properties. I think the park looks great, and I know LW and the team work very hard, but I just wanted to remind everybody to please secure your stuff before you leave for the season. Next thing is I'm going to kick this football over to LW. He's going to briefly speak about the converged services contract to negotiate for the cable services here at the park.
Is Marv here? Yep. I may have Marv come up also, and George also knows a person that's in the converged services. What they do is they negotiate for parks like us or other condos with the cable or programming providers. They work on a contingency basis. If they can't save us money, make our programming better, they don't get paid. And they, Mark, you help me on this, I think. And it's really it's one of those things that, you know, if you see sausage being made, you wouldn't like sausage, because it's kind of the same thing. It's hard to understand everything that they say. This is why they're professionals at it. There's a thing called a door fee. If Comcast comes back, they write out a check back to Ancient Oaks for a certain amount of money, what they call per door, which means per lot, that they would get back to us. This gal that came talk to us says they could get a lot more back, and that's what they would make their contingency fee from the provider themselves. So we talk to them. They're professionals at negotiating with Comcast and whoever else. And so we have a thing where the board would have to make the decision of signing off that we sign that contract with them to negotiate for us for either cable, fiber coming in, maybe it'd be somebody else different, but if they don't produce, they don't get paid. Is that correct, Marv? Marv was there, Kate Durbin, I don't know if she's here. Wayne's on committee and has looked over the stuff and also helping us with that, so. And George knows somebody's in the same business, and that's what they do, and that's how they make their money. We wouldn't get out any money getting somebody to negotiate the next contract with us.
LW, it wasn't the entire door fee.
Dave was there also.
It wasn't the entire door fee. It was a small percentage. I think it was 4% of what they got over and above what we were already being offered.
Okay.
Here comes Mark.
I heard that just a little differently.
That's why we need to get professional here, because everyone's just a little bit different.
Yeah.
And not understanding the ins and outs, but they're professionals.
I'm Marv Dillavo, 2424. A little closer? Okay. Marv Dillavo, 2424. The explanation, the way I understood it, was that the door fee, LW explained that quite well. It's kind of an upfront rebate from the company you signed the long-term contract back to the park. And what they said was the door fee we've been offered so far by Comcast, if we signed a new contract with them, was quite low. They normally get several times that for door fee, and then their commission would be 25% of that total door fee. So if they get us more and take 25% of it, we still come out ahead. And they'll also contact a lot of other people and look at bringing in services, get proposals from several different companies that we can review and see what fits best for what we need today. So it sounded to me like it's kind of a no-brainer. These people are experienced at this. They know who to contact. It's hard for us to scratch up all those companies and get them to quote. It's their full-time business. And if we're not out any upfront money, we don't like any of the things they bring to us, we owe them nothing. So it sounds like something we should ask the board to approve.
Will they, Marv, are they gonna do that? If we have to give Comcast a yes or no by May of this year?
We don't have to give Comcast a yes or no by May of this year. We have to give.
Next year.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
I thought it was.
No, they have asked for that,
Oh,
but it's not in the contract, and we won't be ready to do that,
Yeah,
so.
well, that's what I wondered.
Yeah.
So we got till February, that's a good deal.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
We have February to make the decision, but if we end up with a different provider, they need 6 months so in order to get that stuff in. So we do have to make a decision.
Fairly soon, yeah. We've got to get going on this, and we reviewed that with this lady that brought in the proposal, and she felt like we have enough time to do this, but we need to make a decision on whether we're going to sign up with them or not, and then get things rolling. Any other questions? Okay, thanks.
Oh, just so for the record, that was a non-paid advertisement, non-paid. We didn't pay that.
I'm Wayne Corrigan from Lot 2, Block 24. I'm on the committee and have attended all the meetings except for the one the other day when I was in the hospital. But I want to suggest to the board that some of us was going to go out to all these parks and see what they had and what their cost was. And, you know, to try to get that organized was really hard. And, you know, there's so many parks around here and so many different offers. So this company that has come to us, I urge the board to vote so we can do that. It'll take some relief off us and maybe speed up the whole process.
Thank you, Wayne.
Okay, let's do this. With a raise of hands, this is not official, it's not an official vote, but with a raise of hands, how many people here think that using this service would be a good idea? Okay, all right, thank you. And how many people here think it would not be okay? Okay, so that leaves it up to us. So I'm going to make a motion that we use this converged services to negotiate a better or a good contract for us, whether it be with Xfinity or whoever.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good. And they are a national company. It's just not a local company.
Correct.
All right, we're moving forward to the suggestion box. Take it away, Ms. Joyce.
Okay.
Thank you, Mark.
What is the procedure or policy for storage spaces? Are those who rent the spaces able to sublease them? We heard that they are all rented, but so many are empty. Can somebody speak to that?
Our policy on the storage spaces is that we do not sublet them. They belong to you, and they're really supposed to be showing proof that you own what is sitting on that lot. There are some empty, but a lot of people weren't able to come down or that have those lots, or their boat may be in the water, and the only time they store it is when they're not. So that's why those lots are empty. Now, I hope that answers that question.
Thank you. Very disappointed that the seawall discussion was dropped. The more pavers that people put down, the worse the water problem will be. Interior lakes are eroding too.
Okay. The seawall issue is not dead. It is being worked on by our legal team. Unfortunately, it is taking a while because it is a very complicated subject. So I didn't want to keep talking about it over and over and over again because I don't have answers. So I didn't want to keep bringing it up to say, we have no word yet, we have no word yet. Just to calm everyone down, we should hopefully have an answer soon about the seawall situation, and we will go forward from there. That's all I'm going to say. Next.
Thank you. How about a 9-hole putt-putt course? You could charge $1 for to play. Anyone interested in that? Well, it's something that if people think enough of it, we can look into it, but we'll see. Okay. Suggestion: enclose the patio on the billiards building and make a nice gym. More people may use it if the equipment was in better shape and the room bigger. P.S. Please fix the bicycle seat.
Okay.
We're working on it.
Fair enough.
Okay.
We're looking at enclosing the patio. I'm not promising that it's gonna be a gym. I don't think it's I don't think we have the headroom. Okay, next.
Okay. There is money to replace, not fix the air conditioning system at the clubhouse. When is this going to be done?
LW, is the air conditioning broke?
What was that?
The air conditioning.
The clubhouse air conditioner, is it broken?
No, I'm not sure what we're referring to. Now, the billiards, is, we've been advised to replace the billiards AC. It just has not been, we have the money to do it if we decide to do it.
Okay,
But it's
everybody
still
hear
running.
that? The billiard room air conditioner, we have been advised to replace the billiard room air conditioner. The clubhouse air conditioner is fine.
I know what you're referring to in that. If you've ever seen someone with a coat and a blanket playing bingo.
Yes, we understand that there is a problem. The air conditioner is not broken. It's the placement of the thermostat that is, the placement is broken. Thermostat's not broken, it's where it was placed. So we're working on having it placed in a better environment so that sometimes you're not freezing and sometimes you're not sweating. All right, anything else?
Okay, let's have an outdoor concert at the marina parking lot. The music could be by the gazebo, electricity is available at the docks. People could be in a golf carts or bring chairs. Okay.
I think my opinion on that one is, it sounds like a good idea, but we have to remember that you have neighbors there. So depending on the timing, that might have to be maybe a later afternoon, very early evening thing, because I don't want Elvis impersonator or Fleetwood Max out there at 9 o'clock at night when I'm trying to go to bed.
Watch TV.
Or watch TV.
Yeah.
And
Bring your own bug spray.
I like it, I like the idea, but we just have to think that, or Zach has to think about the timing.
Okay. Okay, this one is Ancient Oaks Management. We are new to Ancient Oaks, but have been coming to Florida for 6 years. Ancient Oaks is a hidden gem right now, but we have seen other small parks taken over by big corporations. They send in people to slowly buy up the properties so they can have control on any boats that come up to possibly sell community. Once this happens, the HOA or the maintenance could go up so much that people on fixed incomes cannot afford to live in their homes. We would appreciate management and board looking into that, so what measures can be put into place so this kind of thing doesn't happen in the future here. Thanks for your time.
Good point.
Very good point.
We are looking into that.
I don't know if we weren't, we are now.
Okay.
I mean, my plan has been revealed to take over the park, but.
Oh, God.
No, seriously, we are looking into that.
How many?
We don't want that to happen here, and I don't think most people want that to happen here, so we're looking at.
Was a very good suggestion.
How do we prevent it, or, I mean, do our bylaws, or, does the way it's set up kind of help us prevent that? So, we're looking at it.
Okay, that's all I had.
Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Yay, we get to move on. Do we have a financial report, or is that for this committees? Okay, we have the hearing committee, no financial report for the hearing committee, but we're gonna marry these together. I think Mr., what's his name? Lynn couldn't be here, he had a prior engagement, so he has a statement to be read by our wonderful Sherry.
The hearing committee heard, they reviewed 10 violations, fines suggested by the board were agreed on by members present at the February monthly board meeting. March 15th hearing committee meeting affirmed 8 violation fines. 2 were rejected violation fines. All violations have been properly notified according to statutes. So they held up all of them except for 2, and the 2, one had been fixed and another one they tabled.
Okay, do we have a social committee? Oh, Miss Eileen, I just want to personally say, awesome job with the donation to the VFW. Oh, awesome job in general, but I'm very impressed with the VFW part.
I'm Eileen Getters. I have been in this park as well since 1996. Okay, I'm the secretary of the social committee, which is separate from the board. And we have Chris, okay.
You're on.
Sorta, okay. Alice is here, Alice Haxma, but the other committee members could not be here. Okay, the new social activities committee took over in January 2022, and we have been very busy since. Number one, we've taken over managing the music concerts that were scheduled, ran the breakfast and lunch meals being held at the clubhouse, located and organized the food trucks, put on the Honors Day poker run. We also had the anniversary dinner returning, provided for couples that were married 50 years or more, and we had 73 couples attend. Okay, we're trying to schedule an event every month throughout the season and the off season, because we have 200 people or 200 units that stay here over the summer, correct? At least. So we are hosting an Easter celebration on April 17th at 2 p.m. in the clubhouse. That's Easter. This is to be a potluck with the ham provided by the SAC. Volunteers from the SAC will run the event. Sort of. May 5th will be a single-day Mayo Day with a taco bar and mix for purchase to make a mean margarita. And the funds that will be made will go to the SAC committee. June events are still in the works, but it might include a movie night using the new projector and a screen that SAC purchased with the monies that we have raised. July 4th will be a party. SAC is trying to make the committee more focused on social activities for the park residents. We are providing extra solar lighting for the shuffleboard, and the pickleball courts. There will be solar lighting, 4 for the shuffleboard and 6 for the pickleball, correct? An updated storage area for the supplies used for lunch and breakfast. If you ever get a chance, you might want to take a peek in there. It's really organized thanks to Judy Pocorni and her husband Larry and a lot of volunteers that have redone all that. And all the stuff that was in here now is all there right next to the kitchen. So it's easier when people are doing the cooking or whatever and putting on their events. Mats and weights for the new gym area. We're looking into it, but it hasn't been purchased yet, correct? Purchase the screen and projector to use during events such as movie nights and maybe on game days. And also the SAC has purchased pool furniture to replace the broken, and they also added 2 new gliders. I guess the response to that is they really like those gliders. 4 gliders, yeah. I said 4. 4 new gliders, yeah. Look for coming activities in the Acorn or on Facebook. If you know your neighbor doesn't follow either of these places, please pass the information along to them. We want to make this park the best it can be, and we all own in here. So we all have to get along and do what's best for everybody. Okay? You want me to give the treasurer's report or not? Of SAC.
Sure, why not? While you're here.
Okay.
Get her done.
Get her done. Okay. This was February 31st, the account balance that Edie Mattingly has done. She keeps excellent records. Let's see. Checking account beginning balance on February 31st was $34,096.74. She has it all broken down as to what we all brought in from breakfast, lunch, social, food trucks, and events. We've made, by the way, $596 on the food trucks so far, thanks to Joyce doing all the work to get those food trucks in here. And we didn't really have to do much other than Joyce. Okay, the bingo reserve was $8,981. Bingo reserve ending balance is $8,981. Let's see, pickleball still at $20 in there. So the sack balance is $22,597. But we have, let's see, I don't know what this is, outstanding transactions, we pay taxes on food. We paid taxes, $963.61 on our food items that we sell. We have not done that in the past, we could have gotten into trouble. Okay, so the sack balance is $26,212.62. But then we bought the pool furniture. Refrigerator is being estimated at a cost of maybe $2,000. We don't know that yet. Joyce is working on that. The round tables to be purchased, $1,500. We're not sure. We want to go with the tables that we have looked at. Not sure about that yet because they're going to cost, but it's charging us $250 for shipping. That's too much. Okay, projector and the screen estimate is about $1,500. 1,000, Judge says, okay? And so reserves, we have to keep reserves in here to pay for people that are gonna do the concerts. They want their money up front. So we say $7,000 to book those concerts. And so in the account, we have that so we have $3,360 yet to spend. Okay, any questions? And if you really like to attend, we have our staff meetings every 2 weeks on Tuesday at 12 o'clock. And come and join us. And we're going to continue this out throughout the off season as well. The next one will be April 2nd, I believe. Okay? Okay.
Question?
Yes.
I thought as a nonprofit, we didn't have to pay sales tax.
You have to pay, for, prepared food. If you sell prepared food, you have to pay taxes on the profit that you made. We're a not-for-profit. We're not a non-profit.
Yeah,
so there is a little bit of a difference between a non-profit and a not-for-profit, and that's one of the differences.
Okay, any other questions?
Taxes, how rude.
Yes, okay, thank you.
Next up is our glorious art manager,
I'll adjust this, just a little bit. Make sure that I can. Yeah, easier, in case somebody is tall that comes up here. Did I mess it up?
Yes.
Stop breaking it.
Got it. Oh, I see, the button's closed. Are we back on?
No.
Okay, what, I heard.
Tap it.
No, you're not supposed to tap it too loud. Not there yet?
Check.
Testing. All right, we're there? All right. Last month, I had a very short thing. Today, got a little bit more participation. Sorry about that. Greetings and salutations. We've had some great weather here recently, and I hope that everyone has been able to enjoy it. Spring break is in full swing, and our park is having a few extra family members around. Please watch for pedestrians and remember the speed limit is 15 miles an hour. I'm sure preaching to the choir here, but anyway, it needs to be said. Many of you will be leaving to head back to your northern abodes. We wish you safe travels and look forward to seeing you back here next year. It is with a note of sadness that we have to say goodbye to some longtime residents that will not return for various reasons. You will be missed. We have the Galls, the Wheelocks, and a few others, and they will be missed. Now to segue over to some items that I need to remind everyone of. Don touched on a little bit, but if you're leaving for an extended period of time, prepare your lot, unit, as if a hurricane is bearing down upon us. June through November is hurricane season. Make sure you have someone lined up to keep your, hurricane season prepared for that. Make sure you have someone lined up to keep your landscaping maintained and unit pressure wash as the need arises. We want to keep everything looking nice in here. Dog owners, please only walk your dogs on your property or the streets going to the dog walks. I have a report of people kind of taking cuts through other people's property. It's like it can't go. You really shouldn't be cutting through other people's property, especially with your dog. The signs that need to be replaced that say no dogs are allowed in the storage area. That's been a rule, and that is a written rule. So we're gonna put the signs back out because the reason is that as people walk dogs in the storage area, they tend not to pick it up. Owners that do not pick up after the dogs ruin it for all the other dog owners. That said, I'll be ordering new signs and the rule will be enforced.
But LW, sometimes I do go by the storage area because both of them not back there are being used at the same time. So I don't wanna go in
Well,
there at the same time.
unless we have the rule changed, there is a rule about no dogs. There is an official rule. Now, you can petition the board to change the rule, but once again, anybody who takes the dog back, if you do change
I
it.
pick up and the people that I see using that also pick up.
So, but all dog owners, please pick up after your pets. You ruin it for those.
They don't always pick up.
Yeah. Even in the dog walk park, everywhere. That's part of responsibility of being a dog owner is picking up after your dog. I have 4 dogs at home. I'm lucky I got a nice big yard. I don't have to do it, but I do have to sometimes watch where I'm walking. They got in the car like, what's that? All right. Another one, a few things people brought me. Florida led the way on restricting smoking in areas to keep non-smokers from having to breathe secondhand smoke. All public common area buildings in Ancient Oaks are smoke-free, including the pool area. Bathrooms and post office are the area folks seem to be not obeying that rule. So remember to obey those rules. And remember to properly dispose of your butts. If you toss them on the ground, someone has to pick them up, maintenance crew and otherwise. Several people have had to go back and do that when I caught them tossing their butts on the ground. So
I'm a witness to that.
I stopped them. I had to pick up the butts because I don't like picking up your butts off the ground. Take care of them properly. Tracy, myself, and the rest of the crew do not enjoy picking up after others who seem oblivious to the fact that they are living.
We can't hear you. Your mic went out.
That mic go back off again? I think we're gonna have to replace the microphone.
Well, that's in our budget.
I'm not supposed to spit on, okay. Hopefully people will start to understand the reason we ask you not to throw trash in the open dumpster. The open dumpster is for large items that will not fit into the compactor. Trash, especially food trash, will attract farmers and pests. Always put food trash and every other type of trash into the compactor. Yesterday, the repair guy did come and put new magnetic sensors on it so that the second door is now available for use, so they corrected that. Please, if you send someone that is not familiar with our procedures down to the trash area, there's caregivers, family members visiting, I'll take the trash for you. Please give them instructions and the proper place to put the trash. It saves the maintenance crew time from having to move items from the open dumpster to the compactor. Okay. All right, we got a working microphone. We are asking everyone to not park vehicles behind the kitchen, billiards, basketball area. Soon we will have signs up that will be restricting parking back there. That's for golf carts, bicycles, and people, but keep the basketball area clear, especially this time of year, as there are people that would like to use the basketball court. One last item, if you have an open sore, bandages or bleeding, do not get into the pool or the hot tub. You're risking passing bloodborne diseases onto others, and it's against, well, I'm sure it's against state law. If you have it, it's common knowledge, if you have any bleeding, that you're not to be in an area that it could be passed on, but please don't get in the pool or the hot tub. As I had said before, I appreciate all those that volunteer their time, the social committee, all the committees, the board members that help me out, that volunteer their time and treasure to help make this park the great park that it is. Be kind, be patient, smile, and live long and prosper.
Okay, we have no old business. So, I motion we adjourn the board meeting.
I second the motion.
I didn't forget about you. I got you on my list. That comes after we adjourn. When I, yes, that comes after. I wrote number 12, nice lady in the green shirt.
It does, by Robert Burrow.
That's the way.
If it's not on the agenda, we have to adjourn the board meeting to listen to what you have. It's not on the agenda.
Be on the agenda or not. I asked you, did I need to tell someone in advance I needed to speak?
You asked who?
I asked you, ma'am, if it was, yes, I stopped at the table when you were doing the, it was for the veterans.
Okay, come and ask the question and then we'll adjourn.
Thank you.
I know, it's
I think it's
okay.
important to be part of the meeting.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Lisa Shagru, Lot 2, Lot 25. We're full-time owners of the park, actually 11 months today. As board members, I expect that you've heard what happened to us. However, I wanted to share our experience to make sure that everyone is aware and to challenge the board to come up with a solution that will not leave any of you in the same situation that we're in right now. On Thursday, March 17th, we lost power. I reported it to FPL, and after testing, they determined that it was not their issue. It was at the meter pedestal, and that we would have to get an electrician. We went to LW, and we were told that we went to LW because we were told the park is responsible for the meter pedestals. We discovered that the parts inside the meter box had burned. He messaged an electrician that the park uses, and he left a message for him. He told us that this electrician is often out of cell service area. He also told us that there is an issue on getting the meter socket pedestals, and that they are about 5 weeks out. I followed up with LW after 2 hours, and again after 3 hours had passed, and he had still not heard back from the electrician. It was 4 hours later that the electrician returned his call, got back to him, he got back to us. That was 8 hours after we lost power. We were told good news, the electrician had a meter pole in stock. But with scheduling, we would still be looking at 2 weeks before ours would be taken care of and our power would be restored. 2 weeks without power at best. And that's with the meter socket pedestal in stock. When asked, the electrician that LW called told him he would not do a temporary connection for us. As I understand it, he only reached out to that one electrician. After that, we had to personally arrange our own temporary connection in order to have electricity, which is a really good thing because it's been a week today, we still don't have that. We still don't even have that scheduled, as far as I know. Nobody's gotten back to us. So the reason I'm telling you this is because it was us last Thursday, but it can be any of you today, tomorrow, or next week. Imagine yourself in that position, 2 to 5 weeks without power. We're particularly sensitive to this because we have a family member whose health, medical needs rely on power. And I venture to guess there are several members in this park who have medical needs that require electricity. Now, my understanding is that there was a plan to replace them all, and it got switched to a replace as they go plan. But that doesn't work if they're not ready and available, if there's not an electrician to connect them or connect a temporary service. And the expectation is that you are expected to go without power for 2 to 5 weeks. I saved the pieces that were inside our box. They're pretty scary looking. You're welcome to go ahead and take a look at them. Now, I understand there was a plan, like I said, I'm replacing these in the past. I'm asking the board about the current plan and what we can, an effective plan that we need to have. Thank you for letting me, this, I felt it was important. This was part of the meeting.
Thank you, Lisa.
I'm sorry, your name again is,
I'll stop by.
your name again is,
Lisa Shagru.
spell the last name, please.
It's Sugrue.
And your lot and block number.
Block 2, block 25. Block 2, block 25.
I asked you back here, so. Okay, thank you. We will, I understand your plight. I just, I'm not
Do
trying
you
to.
understand my plight? Because I still don't have electricity except that I did it myself.
I do understand.
Okay,
your
I just wanted to
plight.
make sure.
I'm not.
Of course you did. We spent that day, March 17th was a fun day around here for everyone, not for us.
All right, Ms. Lisa, thank you. All right, now we're gonna adjourn. A motion to adjourn the meeting for today, March 23rd, 2022.
Second that motion.
All in favor? Aye. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to this edition of the Ancient Oaks Board of Directors meeting. Have a blessed afternoon. And again, if you're traveling north soon, please be safe. Dennis, you're stuck. You're going north.
We're gonna get
The
back.
street light on 54th Street at 67th Avenue is out again. It was out 2 weeks ago.